Oh, this is cool. This is super cool. For as long as I can remember, I've had a dream. Not your normal type of dream. This dream is about Double Dragon. I want to be able to fight an abobo in Double Dragon. You know, the big guys. But I want one to be the size of a human. I want its head to be massive. I want it to be twice the size of a human in my field of vision, and then I want to fight it. I think this stems from years of playing Double Dragon on a tiny 14-inch television. Even when I went round my mate's on his Atari ST, it was only on a Ferguson 21-inch TV, which at the time was cutting edge. These abobos, they conveyed pure power and masculine brute force. Brr! 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 They should be huge. They shouldn't have been played on a tiny 14-inch screen. They need to be given the size they deserve. Now, given this is the route to my dream, this video is sponsored by RayNeo. Thank you, RayNeo people. So thankfully I've been sent a pair of RayNeo Air4 Pro AR smart glasses, and these things promise not only the world's first HDR10 AR display with 10 billion plus colours, surpassing standard displays, but also the ability to enjoy deep contrast on a 201-inch HuView 2.0 screen. Surely a 201-inch screen will give me a massive body-smashing abobo vision. Surely.
Before we get there, let's start with unboxing. Quite a chonky box. You'll see the Olympic logo on there, as RayNeo are an official Olympic partner. And yes, these glasses are the Air4 Pro. Inside we get a nice little carry case, and held within are the glasses themselves. We also get a USB-C cable, which is the only way these glasses receive video. There's a little square user manual, some spare nose grips, some demo lenses for those who need prescription glasses, a cleaning cloth and a quick start guide that is bigger than the actual manual. First things first, given I'm short-sighted and wear glasses instead of contact lenses, it's time to get some actual prescription lenses. This is pretty straightforward. I went to lensology.co.uk, chose their RayNeo 4 Pro lenses, uploaded my prescription, and they arrived a few days later. But you can also take these lenses down to your local optician and get them made up if you so wish. Then you simply clip them in front of the viewing holes and you're good to go. Out of the boxes, these glasses do absolutely nothing. They haven't got an operating system, they are essentially just a monitor in glasses form. To power and receive signal, you need something that can send video via USB-C. My laptop can do it, a Steam Deck can do it, even a Nintendo Switch 2 can do it. Plug the other angled end into the glasses and voila, you get a floating screen in your vision. It's like a massive floater. How that works is actually very impressive. Each eye is given its own tiny high-density display, which are then reflected into your eyes. The impressive bit is that each screen is 1080p and so has a PPI or pixel per inch density of 3689 in a tiny 0.6-inch Seer micro OLED display. They're essentially a modern implementation of what Sony did in 1996 with their Glasstron range. Of course, things were a bit more bulky then, but these ones, for example, can receive a composite image which is projected onto an LCD for each eye, albeit at a much lower resolution, field of view, and without the ability to use prescription lenses. At least not easily. This modern implementation is a lot more portable. You haven't got this chunky power supply. These are just like normal glasses in a case, but you can hook up on the go, and that simply depends on the power supply of the source. Of course, the viewing experience is a little more difficult to convey to camera, but what you get is a 46-degree field of view and a screen that looks like it's floating in a dark room. A cinema, basically. As per RayNeo's own claims, it is supposed to resemble a 201-inch screen at 6 meters away, but it's not like VR where you move your head and the screen stays in place. If you move your head here, the screen is coming very much with you. That's great if you're laying in bed and want to watch a film, rather than holding your phone or sticking it on a cardboard box with a hole cut out, or maybe playing your Steam Deck without having to hold it in front of you like some kind of pleb. It's also great if you're in a car or a train and want to watch something without holding a laptop or phone in front of you. It's also good if you don't want anyone else to see that you're watching Independence Day 2 and very deeply judging you. And this is genuinely good for that. It's got something called the Vision 4000 chip, offering an HDR10 display with a staggering 10.7 billion colours. Yeah, I thought they topped out at 16.7 million as well. But no, we've got brighter highlights, deeper shadows, and reportedly SDR to HDR tech, which promises upscaling in real time, which is going to be useful if I'm attempting to connect an Atari ST up to this thing. Brightness can be increased or decreased using these buttons here, and the same for volume on the other side. In terms of speakers, we get a quad speaker array co-tuned with Bang & Olufsen tucked just above your ears. That works pretty damn well if you're playing a boomer shooter and hear something at the end of a distant corridor, for example. The menu button then allows you to swap between colour preferences, including warm lighting for nighttime work, and you can swap between surround and standard sound. But look, I'm here for a Bobo action. I want to beat the hell out of my 12-foot Bobo. The fact that a 0.6-inch screen can appear as a 201-inch screen is insane to me. Let's measure it out.
Okay, so I found a spare bit of wall. So I need a pen. Red chalk pen, that should do. So 201 inches, what's that in meters? 201 inches in centimeters. 510, that's 5 meters, just over 5 meters. It's massive. 5 meters, 201 inches, 5 meters. How the hell am I going to measure, that? 5 meters? Really? That's massive. 5 meters? Christ on a stick. It's freaking huge. So, I've had to change lenses from a 25mm to like a 7mm fisheye lens. Because 5 meters is huge. It's like this entire wall here. And then a little bit more. So, if we imagine a Bobo this size in a Double Dragon, this is about right, because Double Dragon would be 4x3. So, this entire patch represents what you should see through the glasses. So, a Bobo on a screen like this should be like, oh, I feel like Tony Hart. This sort of size, that's the sort of a Bobo, this is it. That's the sort of size I'm talking. This should be perfect.
But remember, we need to get USB-C into this thing, and the Atari ST doesn't natively output USB-C, funnily enough. Thankfully, the Steam Deck does, and on the Steam Deck we have the Double Dragon trilogy. That includes all 3 original arcade games ready to go. So I'm going to try and first see if things pan out. Yeah, pan. That's what I'm going to do to that massive Bobo. Pan him. In his face. Yeah. I should point out that you can pop this plastic cap off, by the way, which makes the glasses look a lot cooler and actually allows you to kind of see around the screen in front of you. It's a bit like the Sony Glasstron did with their little switch that did the same thing. The cap is there if you want to be in complete darkness, or if you're outside or near bright sources of light which are interfering with your viewing.
Oh, nice. It's hard to convey what this feels like because obviously you guys can't see it. It does feel a little bit like you're in a cinema. Right, where's the Bobo? Where's the Bobo? He's gonna burst through the wall, there's the Bobo! Oh, you massive bastard. Look at you. Huge. Oh, he's dead. Oh, the first Bobo was so easy to kill.
Okay, so that works pretty well. It's like playing Double Dragon in the cinema, but what I really want to try is that Atari ST version that I spent most of my time playing in the 90s. That's a bit more tricky, but if you have an HDMI to USB-C converter like this one, then it's a bit easier. Getting old tech into a working HDMI signal is a fairly straightforward situation, but I should be clear, these RayNeo specs need a 1080p input. If you plug a Commodore 64 Ultimate into these, for example, then you'll need to make sure it's outputting 1080p rather than 576p or something like that. Otherwise, the RayNeo specs just won't allow it. Which confused me a little when these glasses claimed to have SDR to HDR processing. But then I realised it didn't mean standard definition, it means standard dynamic range to high dynamic range. What this does then is boost colour, brightness and contrast on older flat looking video to ensure it looks good in the glasses. That ensures you don't get the dull or washed out look that you might on some other wearable displays. But if you don't like that, you can turn it off in the onboard menu. But they also have a HuView multi-layer optical coating to reduce glare interference, which is nice. We're talking 1200 nits of brightness with individually calibrated colours. So with that in mind, we're going to put the absolutely worst signal possible through and see if those specs can help at all. Using a standard cable as supplied with British machines fitted with a modulator, we can route the Atari ST's RF connection through a Checkmate monitor, whose output can be routed through this converter to make sure we have a 1080p signal, and then bam, we have visuals on the Atari ST through the glasses.
Oh, this is cool. This is super cool. I'm gonna whip you, boy! This is very cool. It is like playing in a cinema. You can get clip-on earpieces for these, which make the sound even more penetrative into your ears, which would really complete the effect. Oh man, this is so much harder than the arcade version. Right, where's the end of level of Bobo? Where is he? There he is. There he is. There's the Bobo. You huge bastard. Come on. Yes. 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 Where am I going? Oh, he's coming behind me. Oh my god. He's a strong boy. Strong, healthy boy. It's not quite the feeling I was going for because the screen is still quite far away in your field of vision. The characters feel like they're just on a big screen, I guess, on a table. So it's not quite the Bobo feeling I wanted. I think for that I'd need to be right next to a massive screen, so that they are literally huge compared to you. But it's a good compromise. I should make clear that this Bobo thing isn't some weird sexual fetish. It's just something that I thought would be funny.
So there you go. It's not quite the huge Bobo experience I was hoping for. I think for that I would need to be inches away from the cinema screen, so perhaps VR is the better format for that, where I can actually look around the screen and feel like I'm next to a massive hench villain.
Yeah, take you down, man. Yes.
To be honest, the more I've played this, the more I've started to feel sorry for the Bobos. There's something very clearly wrong with them. Look, I don't tend to use the R word, but ridiculous. These guys are absolutely ridiculous. These do have a 2D to 3D functionality using the RayNeo XR app, but that's not really a VR scenario. It just helps make your content pop into your eyes. Literally, almost. But that's through your phone and it doesn't allow for eye-popping Bobos in this instance. But they get pretty close. It's still a fun experience and perfect for when you want a static HD screen in front of you with an array of options and processing. If that's the case, then pick yourself up a pair of RayNeo Air4 Pros. I'll leave their link in the description. If you want to pick up a massive Bobo, then I'm sure there's other places you can go for that. Thank you again to RayNeo for sponsoring, and until next time, I've been Nostalgia Nerd. Toodaloo.